Okay, let's talk about a real modern-day mystery. Why some of the most fascinating people we know have a social media profile that looks like they're in witness protection. Today, we're going to dive in and unpack the psychology behind why some people just don't post.
I mean, seriously, how perfect is this quote? We all know somebody like this. Maybe it's a friend, a coworker, or hey, maybe it's you. You've got the account, sure, but it's a ghost town. No selfies, no vacation pics, nothing. But what if that's not by accident?
And this is where it gets interesting. This isn't really about being shy or not having anything cool to post. For a lot of these folks, it's a very deliberate, very intentional choice. They are actively opting out of the whole performance side of social media. So the question is, why? Well, it turns out they usually fall into one of three main categories.
All right, first up, we have a type we can call the self-sufficient. This is a really interesting group, so let's take a closer look at what actually makes them tick.
So here's the thing about them. It's not that they think they're better than anyone else. It's just that their sense of self, their validation, it comes from within. They just don't need a stream of likes and comments to feel good about who they are.
And this is what really breaks it down, right? On one side, you've got confidence that you generate yourself. On the other, you have confidence that kind of depends on that digital feedback loop. For the self-sufficient, their self-worth just isn't tied to a bunch of strangers tapping a little heart icon. It's just not a priority.
But, not everyone is motivated by that kind of inner confidence. For our next profile, the whole act of posting a photo feels like a completely different ballgame. Let's meet the judgment dodger. Just think about it for a second. When you post a picture, you're basically stepping out onto a stage and saying, "Here I am, what do you think?" For some people, that's a rush, but for the judgment dodger, that's a super stressful psychological obstacle course, and they've already done the mental math. And this lays out their calculation perfectly. The potential reward, a quick hit of validation from some likes, it just doesn't outweigh the potential cost. Spending the rest of the day wondering who saw it, who didn't, what they thought. For them, it's a simple cost-benefit analysis, and their peace of mind wins every single time.
Okay, and that brings us to our third and final profile. And this one takes a completely different angle. It's not about confidence, it's not about stress, it's about the very nature of an experience itself. Meet the authenticity architect.
Right? These are the people who just refuse to turn their own life into a performance. They're all about the memories, not the metrics. They have this core belief that the second you pull out your phone to capture a moment for an audience, you've changed the moment. It's not the same anymore.
This slide just gets right to the heart of it. The internal question shifts from, does this feel good, to an external one, does this look good? For the authenticity architect, a beautiful sunset that never gets posted isn't a wasted sunset, no way. It was a sunset that was fully lived, not produced for a feed. So we have the self-sufficient, the judgment dodger, and the authenticity architect. Three totally distinct types, right? Well, yes and no. When you take a step back, you start to see that they're really just different sides of the same coin. They're all just trying to navigate this modern challenge of online identity in their own way.
And this table just sums it all up perfectly. The self-sufficient is driven by internal validation, and their goal is to feel secure. The judgment dodger, motivated by avoiding stress, aiming to feel calm. And the authenticity architect is all about lived experience, with the goal of being truly present. See? Three different paths, but they all lead to a similar destination, a sense of well-being.
And ultimately, that's the big takeaway here. Neither way is better or worse. Sharing online can be an amazing tool for connection, for sure, but choosing to stay private can be a really powerful tool for feeling grounded in your own life. Both are totally valid ways to get through our crazy digital world. But of course, digging into why they don't post kind of forces us to turn the camera back on ourselves, and it brings up one last really powerful question for anyone who does post. So the next time you're about to hit that post button, just ask yourself, what's the real reason here? Are you sharing an experience out of pure joy, or are you kind of looking for proof that the experience was valuable in the first place? Because the people who don't post, they aren't questioning the value of their lives. They already know it. It's definitely something to think about.